Hey, Dean. Hey, Wags. What you doing?
I'm ready to drink.
All right.
Lombardi's Legends podcast. We've got a former professional bartender here, Wags. What are you thinking?
I think today we should make a Bernie blast. And, of course, we're going to be using Leaf Spirits vodka. And then let's just go ahead and get started here, Dane, shall we? So
let's do it.
First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to put 1.5 ounces of OJ in the bottom of an empty glass.
So this is like a health drink?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now we're going to just cover that with ice. And then, now we're going to move over to the side, and we can come in here and take a close look. We're going to pour it in ingredients successively in separate mixing glass. We've got our vodka, your choice of blue Caraco.
Blue Caraco.
Absolutely.
Do they have green and gold Caraco, do you know?
I don't think it would be necessary for green and gold.
Okay.
As much as I love where your head's at, Dane, it's blue. And then we're going to put in some ginger ale, 4.5 ounces of lemonade, right? And now we're ready to mix. So if you have a mixer, we can just go ahead. This is an old bartender trick. When you're at your tailgate, just pour it back and forth. We've got our main drink glass with the OJ. We're ready to go.
I'll tell you what, I'm excited to drink some of this Leaf Spirit vodka. Whatever it's in, it's going to be really good. I know that.
All right. And finally, we are going to garnish with a lemon twist.
Okay, there's the gold portion of our green and gold. I like it.
There you go, Dan.
Thanks, Mike. Let me have a sip. It's delicious. Smooth. Leaf Spirits vodka. Terrific. Thank you, Wags.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Go back, go!
Every year I know we gonna go hard. We been that team ever since Bart started. My cheese heads go pack go, ain't showing no mercy. Cutting no slack, no. I ain't a bad sport and I'll even wish you good.
What up, what up? Welcome to Lombardi's Legends podcast. We are so fortunate tonight to be joined by, let's be real, folks, a stud in the making, Parker White, kicker for the Green Bay Packers. Parker, welcome to Lombardi's Legends podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dane. I'm super excited to tell my story or answer a couple of questions or, whatever that looks like. So looking forward to getting to meet some of the best fans in the NFL.
Dude, so right away, I got to ask you, you're fresh on the team. Let's keep it real. How does it feel to be a Green Bay Packer, Parker?
Yeah, it's still pretty surreal. Like, I don't even have really a good answer for you other than just, being so excited to just get up there and, help a team win, because that's really what it's all about. So I've heard it's kind of like a college town, but the college is the Green Bay Packers. So it's just everything kind of revolves around the team and around Lambeau. So I've had the pleasure of going up twice and I've seen a little bit of the city, and looks super cool. And I'm fortunate, to have been teammates in college with 2 current players already. So have a little bit of an in there, and know a couple guys already. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Parker, I'm just kind of curious. You've been out of college now for over a year, and now you signed this futures deal with the Packers on January 10th. Can you walk us through that process? First of all, just what your mental state is as you go through the entire process, and you're not on a team this past season, but then when you find out that you had signed with the Packers, and what that moment was like.
Yeah. So just to give you a little bit of a walkthrough of what I did in 2022 after college before I signed was going through the draft process, all that pro day, all that fun stuff. Then got an opportunity with Kansas City in rookie mini camp, and then also again with Tampa Bay, and felt like I did pretty well, and had some other pre-draft workouts and stuff with like Jacksonville and with the Titans and like a couple others. So was getting definitely looked at a little bit. Didn't really get out in front of Green Bay until it was like August. It was preseason. I think the Saints came up to Lambeau in preseason. It was like that week, I think, or right around then was when I was up there for a workout with a few other guys and had a pretty good showing. So they kind of kept me kind of in their back pocket, if you will. Thought that maybe after having like one good workout, maybe word would travel like to other teams, but it didn't. So was just kind of banking on, this one workout I had with the Packers. So after the season ended, after the Lions game, they called. Well, I'm sorry, it was before. I think it was the Monday of that week. It was like this. It's like January 2nd or something like that. My agent had told me that they were going to sign me. And they said potentially to kick off in the playoffs if they had beat the Lions, but if not, then they said like after the season had ended, so the day after the game, that they were going to sign me to a futures deal, just depending on how the game went. So obviously I was glued to that game on Sunday Night Football. And then after the loss the next morning, about 11 or so, hey, we're going to fly you up tonight or whatever. So I think I signed on that Tuesday. And felt really good about everything.
So how do you find out about that? You hear these stories of, hey, you're going to the league. How did you find out that you were going to be a Packer? Did your agent call you, or what did that look like?
Yeah, so I remember the exact moment was I was driving back. So in the bowl game, Carolina played Notre Dame, and so I was at the game just as like a spectator or whatever. Hadn't heard anything yet. It was just going to the game because I have my brother lives in Jacksonville, so stayed with him and watched the Carolina game. Next day, driving back with my sister on the way back from Jacksonville to Charleston, and we were like, I can almost remember exactly where on the highway I was. I was like going around some traffic in Savannah and was taking an off ramp. And right when I was kind of going on the ramp, my phone buzzed from my agent. And I was like, oh, normally that's, well, I wouldn't say it's ever really bad. It's usually good if that's happening. So I just got a text that just simply said, "You're in the NFL." And I was like, oh, wow, that's got to be one of the best texts I guess you can get right there. So I waited for him to call me, and he said that Green Bay was going to sign me after the year and kind of gave me the scoop about what I had just explained about the Lions game and all that stuff. So, immediately called, mom, stepdad, my dad, all these people that, are close to me and stuff. My fiance, called all them, and they were, super excited and shed a couple of tears and everything. So yeah, they're excited.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's really interesting that you would have been potentially in line to kick in the playoffs. We know you've got a big leg. So are you
in terms of the kickoffs, do you have much experience covering kickoffs, or you usually just kick it out of the end zone and nobody ever has to return it when you
Yeah.
get a hold of it?
Right. Yeah. So I mean, at Carolina, I kicked off a lot in the early part of my career, and then just with well, we had a scholarship kicker come in, Mitch, who was like kind of doing kickoffs to kind of let me, have focus on field goals, just because it's just a little bit tougher to do both, and it's something that I'm comfortable doing. I did it early in my career and all that, and I feel like at Carolina, I probably had, oh God, this is just a total guess, probably close to like 100 kickoffs maybe or something. Probably hit touchbacks, and it's probably in the around the 60% number or something like that. Don't exactly know for sure, but again, some of that was like 4 or 5 years ago. So that was when I was 185, 190. So I'm like 215, 220 range now. So I feel like I can put a little bit more behind the ball. And it's something I've definitely been working on, because I know the fridge and winners up there and stuff, the ball, it's just simple science, I guess, that the ball just in the cold just doesn't travel as well. So it's going to be important to, have that extra hang time and distance to stuff, to be able to, hit touchbacks. But that's not really what it's all about. I know sometimes coaches and stuff want goal line with hang time to be able to pin teams even inside the 25 to gain some field position and stuff. So being able to be accurate and hit for hang time and stuff is, just as important as distance. But I feel like I'm able to do all three pretty well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think Dane might have frozen up here, so we may have lost him here for
Yeah.
a minute. But I do have a follow-up to that. So you mentioned the cold. Coming from South Carolina, do you have much experience kicking off in cold weather, or would that be something that would be a new thing for you, or an adjustment that you would have to make?
Yeah, that'd be pretty new. I wouldn't say it's an adjustment. It would just be, like you said, like something new. Um, just because you don't really like change much when it's cold. It's just you're maybe going to lose, a few yards. So you may need to, like, if you're going for a touchback, lower the trajectory a little bit and hit more of like kind of like a stinger to get it go out of the back of the end zone. But yeah, it kind of just depends. It'll be definitely a little different. We only had a couple cold games in college, but I don't think it's like a end all be all thing, for it to be cold. Like, it's cold, but you just layer up, and shouldn't be too bad. Fortunately for me, my fiance lives in Cincinnati right now, so I've been going up there and kicking like in the cold and wind and stuff in Cincinnati. So I know it's not quite northern, or I guess it's mid to northern Wisconsin. But it's definitely, more of a difficult element than Charleston or Columbia. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things where you do adjust to, obviously, and Packers oftentimes practice outdoors as well, even on some days in the winter. Um,
Mhm.
it's something that I know a lot of Packer fans think about. We've got obviously a guy. I don't know how familiar you are with him, in Mason Crosby. He's been
Mhm.
with the Packers forever. He's actually a free agent, so not sure if he will be back with the Packers. But how do you look at the opportunity as you move forward here and prepare for the offseason program, knowing that as of today, you're the only kicker on the Packers roster?
Yeah. So right now I'm attacking it like, like it's my job to lose. I think every single NFL player at every position would be saying that they do the same thing, because I don't think the Packers would assign me unless they had an expectation for me to come in and do well, and and to kick for the Packers. Like, I mean, that's just logical sense right there. Like, NFL team signs a kicker so that they'll kick for them. Like, that's kind of the way I'm thinking about it and looking at it. And I know Mason has had a phenomenal career and has really just been walking success like everywhere he's been, at Colorado and with Green Bay for so long. Like, I mean, he's really like a legend, and probably someone that I would think would be in contention for the Hall of Fame at some point, with like Vinatieri and some of those guys. So yeah, like, I mean, coming in kind of after him, or maybe if they decide to bring him back alongside him and stuff, that'd be great for me to learn from him and stuff, like we're saying, with those adjustments and the cold and wind and all that. So would be a great learning opportunity for me too. but yeah, either way, looking forward to getting up and working with Pat and stuff, and some of those veteran specialists and stuff that have been around and definitely have a lot more knowledge about it, than I do in terms of the wins at NFL stadiums and different strategies and techniques and all that. So be a good learning opportunity either way.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just kind of curious too. When you came in for that workout, did you meet with any of the coaching staff, or was that mostly just front office personnel? And just take us behind the scenes. I don't expect you to tell us exactly what those conversations were, but were there some, discussions on the side as well that they wanted to pick your brain and just kind of see what your approach was to the game in terms of your preparation or anything along those lines as well?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question, because a lot of people don't have a insight to like what an NFL workout really looks like and what that entails. I didn't either really till that was my first one. Like I had rookie mini camp and stuff, but that's a lot different from like a workout. So yeah, so like I was saying, well, I guess to answer kind of the beginning of your question, no, there were no coaches out there. I think they actually had practice because, like I said, that was in camp. So I think they were like the team was practicing. So that was like all personnel guys. Like there were probably like 10 to 20 of them, maybe, if I can remember right, and some video guys and stuff to film it. So we just were kicking in like the Don Hudson Center. And let's see, where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So it was in the indoors. There's like 5 of us kickers there. And no, there wasn't really much of conversations like, after we kicked or before we had kicked about kind of what our mental side was like. It was really just them watching us kick. It was pretty simple. The Packers all gave us shorts and stuff. So we all had matching, shorts and the shirts they had us wear and stuff. So we looked all pretty uniform and just went through a little script of some field goals and then some kickoffs. And then, it didn't last very long. It was pretty quick little thing there. And then they got in contact with my agent, shortly after the workout, and said that they were pretty impressed and definitely interested.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And obviously you did well in that circumstance. So congratulations for that. So then just looking ahead a little bit, what are some of the things that you're doing now as you're preparing for the off-season program? I realize it's only February, but that's just right around the corner with some of the OTAs, mini camp, etc. That'll be coming up post-draft here in the next couple of months. So are you kind of just trying to relax and stay fresh for the most part, or are there some particular things you're doing to ramp up just to get yourself prepared for those programs?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely attacking the weight room and like the on the field work hard. There's definitely some relaxation and stuff in that, just because mentally it's just good to, I think, reset and get away every now and then or whatever, especially in the off season. Just because it's like a long year, but I didn't just get off of like a football season. So I've been doing basically the same thing for the past like 14 months since like last January. Like for all last year, I've been pretty much kicking and working out like without really like much of a break. Like I would give myself like some time off, but like, there wasn't like some month, where a whole month went by and I didn't, work out and kick. Like I've been staying like really fresh the whole time. Yeah, for right now, I've been working out, like lifting, like 4 times a week, and then doing like sprint stuff, like trying to stay explosive and like, stuff like that. Like maybe twice, and then like kicking like twice for right now. And then that'll probably ramp up a little bit. Like I'll probably back off of like the workouts a little bit more and like add in a little bit more kicking for March, because I go up there April 17th. Oh, I guess mid to late March. That's probably when I'll switch it up. So I go up there April 17th, and they said show up, best shape of your life and ready to kick and everything. So I just want to like stay ready for that. But then, maybe the week leading up, I'll kind of back off a little bit to stay fresh, for that first week, where it really counts. So, but I don't have an exact script to it or whatever, like for right now, just because I haven't been through an NFL offseason to know like maybe what works for me and what doesn't work. So I'm just kind of doing what I did in college, just, trying to, stay strong, explosive, and still kind of refine my technique kind of all at the same time. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just kind of curious, aside from some of the former teammates that you had from South Carolina, are there any other connections you've been able to make on the team, or will that likely have to wait until those OTAs actually start? I'm just kind of curious if maybe any of the specialists, Jack Coco, Pat O'Donnell, have reached out just to introduce or chat with you at all, or if you're just kind of waiting to make some of those connections once you head
Yeah.
back up to Green Bay.
Yeah, probably waiting. You haven't talked to either of the specialists. I know that Pat um, is like a big Coles kicking guy, and I also work with Coles. So I think, trains down in Florida and stuff. And I hope to get to work with him some this summer and stuff, and definitely during OTAs and all that. Um, but no, haven't they haven't. There hasn't been communication either way from me to either of the specialists. And I can't think of like another connection that I would have other than JJ and Keyshawn. Still haven't talked to Keyshawn yet. We weren't like super I don't have I don't even have Keyshawn's phone number. Like, we were teammates at Carolina, I think, for a year or two, but we weren't like as close. JJ and I are like pretty good friends, and I texted him the day before I signed. I was like, "You ready to be teammates again?" And like, I watched his dog for like a month while he was my girlfriend and I did, well, now fiance, but he was like out of town for like a month in college, like over a May or summer like that. So like, watched his dog the whole time. And we were like we were both like team captains, like permanent team captains, our last year at Carolina and stuff. So, I'm a little bit closer with JJ. But yeah, those two guys, I'm definitely looking forward to kind of teaming up with them again.
Yeah, for sure. And we got Dane back here, but I'll let him warm up and catch up here in a moment. But speaking then, kind of let's going back now. Do you reflect on that journey that you've had going back? I'm just kind of curious before, just going maybe even back when that football journey first started. You don't have to walk in detail through all of your football career, but I know you had a really, really nice career at South Carolina. So I'm just kind of curious if there were any particular, challenges, hurdles, or, successes along the way that you look back at now and you can point to say is the big reason for where you are today.
Yeah, so I would say, kind of to answer that, I almost have to kind of go back to like the end of high school. Let me jump to the beginning real quick. So I was a soccer player growing up. The high school I went to was like nationally ranked for soccer. So I got cut from the soccer team, and that's kind of when I transitioned to football. Like, I was devastated when that happened. Always wanted to play soccer. Like, I'm actually wearing a soccer jersey right now, not really thinking about being on here, but it was just a, sport I love. And ended up, transitioning to kicking, and did that all through high school. Did all right. Didn't really have like a lofty expectation to play in college. Just kind of thought that it may happen, it may not. But if it did, I definitely wanted it to be at South Carolina or at Clemson. I just wanted to go to like a big in-state school. Luckily, I was able to land a tryout at Carolina, so I decided to go there because I liked the academics first, and then got to try out later on. But I went through the whole, like, most college football players that end up making it to the NFL and stuff, they know by maybe their sophomore, junior year in high school that they're at least going to play, or probably, if not, know what school. Like, I was sitting there graduating from high school, like high school's done, like summer going into college. I still had no idea where I was even going to, I thought I was going to go to Carolina, but didn't know that I was even going to play football. It kind of just lucked into it. They got the tryout in August of my freshman year as soon as I like moved in, and then did pretty well. Kind of same thing to like Green Bay. Kind of had one chance. Like, this was a 1-day tryout at Carolina. Like, if I would have sucked that day, I would have probably never played. Like, if same thing, Green Bay, if I would have sucked at that workout in August, probably wouldn't have got signed. Or let me rephrase that. Definitely wouldn't have got signed. So, just kind of those trials and tribulations I went through, I think helped, prepare me for that. Cause I've kind of been in those moments where it's like, okay, today's pretty important day, like put on your lucky underwear, because this isn't going to be something where you really get a redo. So yeah, so there are definitely moments and stuff like that help prepare me for this. And then same thing with playing in the games and stuff. Like, SEC, I think, is really similar to the NFL in terms of almost every game is close. Like almost every game is within 7, especially in conference, unless you're playing Georgia. And then the stadiums being as crowded as they are, similar to Lambeau. I'm sure. What does Lambeau hold? Like 80 or 90,000? Like Carolina.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, Carolina's right on it, right on that same ballpark. So same thing with the other, like the Swamp and going to Clemson and into Athens and all that. So that's, I think, going to help translate well. I know Jamar Chase was, I think he had like a big quote about that recently, that like him playing at LSU, he thinks is a big reason why he's succeeding. So I kind of fall under that same path where I'm like, I'm glad I was able to like do that, because I think transitioning from like smaller schools and stuff like that to like the bright lights of the NFL would be a lot bigger deal, because just the jump you're making. But
and Park, forgive my technical difficulties here. Been really
you're
looking
good.
forward to talking with you. So curious, and forgive me if this is something that you guys have touched on while I was trying to get back up. Have you talked at all about the mental side of the game and kind of the kicking aspect there? Like, what's your mindset? Because you talk about your tryout and how successful you were, and did you go 8 for 8 in the Packer tryout and you nailed a 60-yarder in warmups, or is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had a really, really good tryout for the Packers a number of months ago now. But even when we're talking about that to potentially earn a job, or if there's 90,000 fans screaming and you've got to go hit a big kick, what's your mindset? Because I've always loved talking with the specialists, right? Because you guys are guys that have to be exceedingly mentally tough. You're guys that when the light shines, it shines exceedingly bright, and you got to go out and you have to perform. So how do you perform? How do you go in to any of those big pressure situations and succeed in doing so?
Right. Yeah. I think anyone that's successful in those kind of moments would kind of have a similar mindset and approach to what I have, which is to pretty much just treat every kick the same. Like the way I prepare and the way I practice is that I try to put, pressure on myself in those situations, even if I'm at the field by myself, and, just learning and trying to perfect my craft and what I do. And so that I have a fallback of when I get into a game and it's like a big kick that, I've practiced this kick thousands of times. So it's like, it's nothing different. Like you should never have to change anything in those moments. So you shouldn't, your mentality shouldn't change if the physical part isn't really changing either. So obviously there's a lot of pressure in those kicks, a lot riding and, making the playoffs or not, or, going to a Super Bowl. Like those are definitely, big moments, but that's why you play the game, is to be able to win the game for your team, for those guys you care about in the locker room. Like I'm somebody that wants that opportunity. Like I'd rather be down 1 kicking a field goal than up 1 watching the other guy kick a field goal. So you'd rather have, the ball in your court to be able to do something about it than, sit on the sidelines. So that's kind of the way I approach it. And I have confidence in myself as a kicker. So, I look forward to kind of having those chances to win games. Like I think at Carolina, I had like 6 or 7 game winners. So I've kind of been in those moments and stuff in big games. So used to it. And I would always say kind of like, I love this quote. Tom Brady, when he got asked about his favorite Super Bowl, he says the next one. So that's kind of what I would say. Like my favorite kick is the next one. So I'm always hungry for more and ready to kind of, get up there and get after it.
Yeah, for sure. So just kind of curious. You said you've gotten a little taste of Green Bay. You've been up there a couple of times. And this isn't that big of a deal, but I'm just kind of curious. You're coming from, low country in South Carolina to Green Bay, Wisconsin. It's a little bit of a cultural shift, right? So
Oh, yeah.
just wondering if you've gotten a little taste of what that will be like, and what some of the things were that maybe stood out to you as you've taken that in.
To tell you the truth, I really haven't. I don't really know, like, oh man, I don't really like know anybody from Wisconsin, that I just, well, actually one of my sister's good friends is, that she just met she's a freshman at Carolina, is from up there. And, she's she said her dad wants to take me ice fishing, which would be new for me, but says that he goes ice fishing somewhere around like Green Bay, I guess. And I'm like, well, dang, that's pretty different there, because that's ice. So that's what sub 32 degrees, fishing. So I'm more of like the 85 degrees going in the Atlantic Ocean type of fisherman. So that's quite the difference there. But yeah, no, I don't know really a ton about, the culture of Green Bay and Wisconsin. And like, I know a lot of the football history and stuff and what it means to like play at Lambeau and that kind of stuff. But in terms of, um, you know, changing over from eating fresh seafood to cheese curds, like, I don't know, really, I haven't experienced that yet, but
You will soon, man. You will soon. So it's very fascinating. I'm kind of curious then, are you going into a game, how do you prepare? Do you listen to music? What kind of music are you into? What types of things? You know what I mean? Some guys like to get really hyped up. You're at a much different position than, say, a defensive end, right?
Mhm.
How do you mentally get to kind of that even spot where you're able to perform
Right.
at the highest level?
Yeah, so I used to, so I kind of went on kind of went in three stages. Early in my career, I listened to like a bunch of rap and was trying to hype myself up at Carolina, trying to like, oh man, we're about to play a game. But it's like, well, my last like couple years, I kind of just switched to country. It was kind of just more of like a relaxing kind of, chill me out like before a game. Um, and then my very last season, when I was like probably the most successful at Carolina, and this didn't have everything. I mean, this was a small piece of it maybe, and it probably had not much effect, but I didn't even like really listen to any music at all. I was like the only one on the bus sitting there without headphones, just because I just kind of felt like I was already ready to play. I kind of like, was like, I don't need some song on the bus to like hype me up. You know what I mean? Like, I want to, mentally think, like, I want to think about, making kicks and stuff and concentrate on my job on the way over, and not really like focus on some song or something like that. So yeah, I just kind of chill, relax, treat it like I guess. And I also don't listen to music like before practice. So I wouldn't, change, that either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't want to prepare differently for a game versus practice. Like, I want that to be as streamlined as possible. So don't really do like any music or anything like that. Just kind of go into the game and treat it like it's any other day.
Yeah, for sure, Parker. So you're a fisherman. You like country music. I'll tell you what. If you happen to mention that your favorite beer is PBR or Miller Lite, you're gonna fit right in with everyone up in Green Bay right off the bat. But in all seriousness, what are some of the other things that define you as a person? Not as a football player, but just taking a look outside the field. I know you mentioned that you recently got engaged, so congratulations. That'll be
That's right.
a big life moment, certainly coming up for you. But I'm just kind of curious, who is Parker White, the dude outside of football? What would you tell Packer fans out there about some of the things that you're into
Yeah.
as a person?
Right. Yeah. So first thing, first and foremost in my life is I'm a man of God, and have a close relationship with Jesus, and my fiance does too and stuff. So that's, a good bonding moment for us, and really close to my family. Uh, Pretty much my entire family lives within, well, my mom's side lives within at least like probably a 5 to 10 mile radius. Like, we're all in Mount Pleasant. So I have a lot of kind of family get togethers and stuff. So they're going to be packing that bus out to drive 18 hours up to Lambeau on some Sundays, hopefully. But but yeah, so that's kind of like a little bit about me. I'd say in terms of like hobbies slash like interests, playing Xbox with my buddies and stuff, like friends from college and from high school and stuff. Playing, I mentioned earlier about soccer, so I play FIFA and Call of Duty and stuff with them. So just like any other special, like when I went up to Green Bay, we were in the players lounge, and there was like one account when I turned on the Xbox after our workout. So there's another kicker there. We were gonna play FIFA. So we load up the Xbox after the workout, and there was one account that had signed in before, and it was Cross Kicks 2. So I'll let you take a guess who was in there playing Xbox. So I guess all specialists are the same. So yeah, so that's kind of like a little bit about, what I do. Kind of just like any other regular person, just like to like golf, that's another, like I'm sure a lot of Mason's answers, if y'all ever talk to him for those questions are probably pretty similar to mine. Fishing, golf, Xbox, hanging out with whatever, just same old family man, like that. Just a normal guy. That's kind of what I would consider myself.
It's so, and I want to be mindful of your time. You've been super generous. What do you know what number you're going to be wearing yet? How are fans getting? You don't know yet. You were 43, right, in college. So just kind of curious. Do you have anything in mind? And also, are there any? When the fans are watching you out there, I mean, do you have a part of the game that you prefer? Do you love kicking off? Do you love hitting long distance field goals? What kind of kicker do you like to mold yourself after?
Well, let me answer that with a question real quick. You mean a specific kicker I try to model myself after, or just
is there a specific kicker, or do you kind of take pieces of different, kickers out there? Because I think the Packer fans, generally speaking, I'd like to think are a pretty educated bunch. They follow the team extremely closely. So just didn't know if there are any particular kickers out there that you watch and you go, oh, I like this guy's swag, or I like this guy's game,
right,
or I like how he kicks off here. Just kind of curious overall.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So to answer the first question, I kind of already shook my head, so I didn't have my number. But I've actually checked the roster like a couple of times since I've got signed. I'm like, let's see if they posted it. Nope, haven't. Because I don't know if they pick for me, or if I'm allowed to pick. If I'm allowed to pick, I don't know if anyone has it, but I would like 3, just because if not going to wear 43 in the NFL, and I like 3 better than 4. So it's also field goals worth 3. So that was kind of my rationale there of wanting 3 if I can get it. I haven't even looked at the roster to see if someone has it, but
no, it should be free. I think
okay.
3's open right now, man. If I'm not mistaken.
So that would be my choice if I get to pick. But don't have any insight to that. And then in terms of modeling my game after somebody, a lot of people, like professional athletes, say like, oh, I'd like to say I'm the first so and so, but it's like like there's always role models. Like, so that's definitely not my answer. Like, I would say that the guys I really like to watch, just to name a couple, I would say number one of a guy who's, like you said, like who's swag and technique and mentality would probably be Robbie Gould. He's I'd say my style is pretty similar to him. It's I'm pretty compact. It's not like Justin Tucker is great, but his technique is like so hard to replicate after, because he's so far from the ball, and like he's so explosive, and like everything that he does, it's like there's not many other people that kick like that. But Robbie's my style is very similar to him. Like one time I heard he was training in Charlotte with this coach that I've trained with. And there was like a bunch of high school kids out there he was helping coaching. And he was like, talking crap to like the high schoolers, like competing against them, and like, just being a competitor and just having fun with it and stuff. So that's kind of what I like to do too. And then just kind of his demeanor and stuff on the sidelines from just watching games on TV and stuff, and just coming up in those clutch moments. I would say Robbie Gould's a big one, and definitely, all his success, because he's kind of in the same boat as Mason of, an 18 to 20 year vet that's made a killing off of this, that, has just done so great. So, and again, Mason's one of those guys too, where it's kind of same kind of clutch, even keeled demeanor, really simple form, doesn't try to do too much. You can throw Ryan Suckup in there too. He was a Carolina guy before me. We're just very, we're 2-step kickers. So that's like just going like right, left kick versus like some guys do a jab step with their left foot first. Like, so all those guys are 2-step guys that are very smooth. Like, that's the number one thing, just being smooth, hitting the ball, just nice and easy, not trying to do too much. So that's kind of how I approach field goals, at least. And as far as kickoffs, that's a different mentality. I wouldn't say there's a kickoff guy I really model after, but it's kind of, kickoff is more of a see ball, kill ball type of, like, just, destroy that out of the back of the end zone. Or sometimes, there's where we try to get more hang time, but that's a little bit not as refined, I wouldn't say, as kicking field goals.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just kind of curious, as you talk through the different form and technique. I mean, obviously visually we can see that as fans, but it does make me ask, though, from your standpoint, everything that goes into timing with snap, hold, and then your plant leg, and then the follow through and kick. And I mean, I know there's probably a few more nuances than that, but how much of that timing in particular is the responsibility of the snap and holder, and how much of that is your reading of that snap and hold. I guess meaning, are they playing off you or you more off them? Certainly, every snap and hold is going to be slightly different, but they're trying to be as consistent as possible as well. So I'm kind of curious how all of those things come together from your perspective.
Yeah. So there's never been really like a great kick without a great snap and a great hold, you know. So it's like that's kind of like the alley oop to the dunk. So really important part of it. And I know I've never really worked with like really NFL guys before, I don't think. Or I guess current NFL guys. I've worked with guys in college that ended up going to the NFL, but haven't really worked with current guys, I don't think. So at that level, I mean, they're so good and so consistent. Like, when's the last time you've seen a bad snap, like in an NFL game? Like, you almost never see that. Like, they're probably the most consistent, some of the most consistent athletes in the world are long snappers in the NFL. Because like they never mess up, like especially some of the veteran guys, and it's pretty incredible. So you can almost bank on that, at least in the NFL, like every time. And that, you know, the good snap sets up the good hold. So yeah, I'm definitely keying off of them. And kind of like I have my eyes on the spot the whole time. So I'm waiting for the holder's left hand to come up off the ground to help catch the ball. And then that's kind of when I go. And then I can also kind of periph the ball and see it, you know, even though I'm not concentrating on it, I can see the ball coming back. So just kind of have that, just repping that over and over again helps you with your timing of when to go. But, you know, especially in NFL, it should be pretty smooth. It's a bigger deal in college with, you know, snappers and holders that maybe aren't as polished as the NFL guys.
Cool. Well, I just want to thank you, man, for coming on and taking the time. Wags, if you have anything else on your plate, I just, you know, it means a ton to us, I think, and to our listeners are going to love this one. And dude, we wish you a ton of luck out there. We're going to be rooting like crazy for you. Go earn that job, man, and go be the kicker for the Packers. I mean, if you look back in the history of the kickers, we've had some kickers last a very long time in Green Bay. So we're going to be rooting for you like crazy to go and earn that job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And forgive me for asking this, but we always like to ask guys, can you give us a nice go pack go before you jump off?
Yeah, this is my first one. Go Pack Go.
Go Pack Go. Parker
Yeah,
White,
thanks.
kicker for the Green Bay Packers. Thank you so much, Parker, for joining tonight.
Yep, thanks, Dane. The pleasure was all mine. Thanks,
Yep,
Wags.
thanks, Parker. Yep, have a great night. Appreciate it.
You too. Bye.
Yep. All right. So now I think we can take a quick break and transition then into DraftKings Sportsbook. And of course, it's not football season. So NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in free bets instantly.
Wags, for a limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no sweat same game parlay every day. You just go to DraftKings Sportsbook app today, opt in, and place a same game parlay on any NBA game. And if it doesn't hit, dude, you'll get a free bet back. I'm going to say that again. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a free bet back. And I'll tell you what, I've been going all in on the Bucks this year, Wags, and that's what I love doing with this Milwaukee Bucks team. Is so much fun. Call me a homer all you want, but they've just been a ton of fun to watch lately. Giannis is an absolute beast, and NBA is a ton of fun to bet on. It's a ton of fun to just hang out, watch those late night games, sitting on the couch, and watch those West Coast games come to fruition. So, folks, go to DraftKings Sportsbook app now.
Yep, and use promo code THPN. So new customers can bet $5 on NBA and get $200 in free bets instantly only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code THPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void in Ohio. See show notes for details. All right, so Dane, that was really cool. Folks, this is what we like to do here on Lombardi's Legends. We bring in these guys, and as we noted, Parker White is the kicker on the Green Bay Packer roster right now. And of course, we don't know what's going to happen with Mason Crosby. You speculated in our end of season review, Dane, that Mason Crosby may have played his last game as a Packer. So I certainly don't expect that Parker is going to be handed the job by any means. And so they're probably not done evaluating and bringing maybe another guy or two in, even if Mason isn't back. But that being said, he's got to feel pretty good about having a leg up, if you will, on the competition and the knowing where he's going to be as he heads into the offseason program, getting a full offseason program, hopefully for him, and a full camp to show what he can do.
Yeah, you're right, Wags. And I agree. I look at what Parker's career was down there in South Carolina. I mean, we said it, but the leading point getter in history down there, and he's close to automatic in kicks. I think he missed one field goal 2 seasons ago, his last season in 2021. Extremely steady. He's got a huge leg. I know that, and this is not a bash Mason Crosby session because Mason's one of the all-time great Green Bay Packers, but I think everybody saw, the leg power was starting to strain a little bit. And while we don't know, what Parker's going to be able to do under that kind of pressure at Lambeau Field, game in and game out, what I took from this interview is he's a really steady guy. He's a guy who's clearly focused. He's a guy that wants the ball. The fact that he said, I'd rather be down one kicking a field goal as opposed to the other team, us up one and the other team kicking it. I love that mentality. He has an absolutely massive leg. I thought it was a big revelation that they thought about bringing him in to be the kickoff specialist if they were to beat Detroit. The Packers have gone through a lot of kickers in the last couple of years. And after all those kickers, right now, Parker White is the one that stands in Green Bay. So I think he has as good a shot as anybody. And if Mason Crosby doesn't come back, Wags, it's an open competition. And I would honestly say that I think Parker White has an inside track to earn a job in Green Bay.
Well, he does for now. And yeah, I was going to make note of that too. That's an interesting insight into what the front office was looking at there. And I know Mason, he wasn't fully healthy at the end of the season either. So I think they probably were trying to protect him from having to have those kickoff duties. That said, you mentioned the leg strength, and I mean, Mason at 38, he's going to be 39 if he continues to play next season, covering kicks. You don't like the kicker to have to be involved, but dude, having a 39-year-old guy have to cover kicks as that last line of defense is not ideal. Mason keeps himself in terrific shape. So as you said, this is absolutely nothing against Packer Hall of Famer Mason Crosby at all. But I do think that might give a little bit of an indication of what the front office might be thinking is they're ready, because they're not going to have one guy do kickoffs and another guy do kicks. That's just not going to happen. They might have, a kicker on the practice squad like they've done the last couple of years with the expanded roster and expanded practice squads. But I do not see them devoting multiple 53-man roster spots to multiple kickers. So they're going to go out and try to find that guy, whether that's Parker White or someone else. But we don't have anyone else, like I said, that they're looking at. So he does definitely have the inside track as of right now. And certainly he'll be getting some extra reps in, I think, early on in the process. So he should have plenty of opportunity to continue to show what he can do.
Yeah, how fun, man. And yeah, 60-yard field goals. Those don't just grow on trees, right? I mean, the guy's got a huge leg. Can't say it enough. So I know he played down in warmer weather, but he comes up there. I think that he can kick the heck out of the football. So it's going to be cool to see. And I just love talking to these specialists, about their approach and the way he was talking about, when he decided the two-step kick, when he starts moving, when the ball, when the holder puts the hand up, all that stuff is just super fun. And it's interesting to hear a guy talk about. So really excited to root for Parker and see what he does coming up in OTAs and then hopefully through training camp and beyond.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Dane, I don't really have anything else to add. I'm almost tempted to to get into some of the roster contract restructures that have taken place, but maybe it would be better, since this was an episode about Parker, to save that discussion.
Let's save it for next time. Yeah.
There's news, but there could be even more news by the time we come back and get into some more of the off-season discussion. So certainly some things to talk about, but I'm expecting that there will be even more in the next week or two as we patiently wait for some of the additional big-time dominoes to fall. But Dane, I think this about covers us here for tonight as far as having the opportunity to once again have a Green Bay Packer on the podcast in kicker Parker White, and really happy that we had the opportunity to kind of show all of you guys out there what this guy's about and who he is and what you can expect, and hopefully now recognize as a name instead of saying who's that's kicking for the Packers right now. Well, if you listen to Lombardi's Legends, you're in the know and you get the inside scoop. So, folks, thanks so much for following along, participating. Sorry we didn't really get to some of the questions in the chat tonight, but really appreciate all of you. And as always, be legendary and go Pack.
Go Pack, go.
Every year I know we gonna go hard. We been that team ever since Bart started. All my cheese heads go Pack go. Ain't showing no mercy, cutting no slack, no. I ain't a bad sport and I'll even wish you good luck. Only thing I will